Before we get into today's video, I did want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. Good morning, my lovelies, my beauties, my friends. My name is Christina and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you will subscribe, stick around, take a chance in hearing some things that I have to say. And if you are a returning subscriber, y'all already know, y'all are my babies. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. So in today's video, we are going to talk about these 4 students from the University of Idaho where all of this situation is coming from and everybody's talking about it. It's on every darn news source right now. And you guys have been highly requesting it. This case it's so messy, but it's also... This is a case that to me, it's kind of strange because there's so much information that's out there, but then there's so many like key pieces that's missing to us, the public. The way I envision this case is like if you took a puzzle, like an amazing puzzle that you want to put together so bad that has 1,000 pieces and you scatter it on the floor and then you go and take about 5 handfuls of these puzzle pieces and go and flush them down the toilet and then try to put the puzzle together. That's what it's like with this case right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell y'all about the 4 Idaho students briefly. Then I'm going to tell you guys, like what happened. I'm going to show you guys some photos. We're going to talk about some things. And then I'm going to tell you guys as of now what I think happened, who I think the perpetrator was, and all of that stuff. And spoiler alert, I will tell you guys now that I actually do think that the investigators have a suspect in mind, or suspects. I'll tell y'all at the end what I think, because right now in the media, they're saying they have no suspect, they have I actually believe that they do, but stay to the end so I can tell you guys about that. Before we get into it though, I did want to remind you guys that I am not a professional. I am just a woman with a camera talking to you guys. Please go do your own research, form your own opinions. Just don't show hate to anybody anywhere. And also, if you don't know, I do have a second channel, which is Casually Christina. We just do things more casually over there. I also have a Patreon. My Patreon is for 18 and up. And over there, we talk about true crime on the $2 tier mostly. That's all the true crime stuff that we can't talk about on YouTube due to their terms and policies. We go over crime scene photos. And then we also go live over there and I tell personal story times, but make sure you read the tier before you join so you know what you're getting. And I also have a Facebook, an Instagram, and a Snapchat, and those are always linked down in the description box if you'd like to come and check me out. Whew, that's a mouthful. So this situation took place on November 13th in Moscow, Idaho. Shortly before noon, dispatchers received a 911 phone call that there was a person that was unconscious and needed help. So the cops, they were dispatched to this home. They arrive at this home. They were able to enter the dwelling. And when they did, they saw a scene that they were not prepared for. As a matter of fact, I've heard different investigators say that they have never seen a scene like this before, ever in their careers. Y'all, before we go any further, I have to show y'all how I have been earning cash back for free by using the Upside app. So if you guys don't know what the Upside app is, you are missing out. Upside is a cash back app that you can easily download on either Google Play or the App Store, and it is so easy to use. So let me show you guys real quick. So there's the Upside app right there, and all I do is click into it, boop, like that. See, gas, food, and shopping. And then it's going to show me on here all of the different places that I can, look at all that, within the vicinity of my area where I can earn cash back. Well, I just pulled into a Circle K. I'm already getting gas. Why not earn some money? Okay. So all I'm going to do here is click claim. Now I just need to check in. That tells them, hey, I'm ready to pump this gas. So I'm going to check in now. And then now all I got to do is pump my gas. and now I'm all done. The money will just show up in my account later. And because I use my Upside app, I've earned $10.68 cash back. I can either transfer it to my bank account or transfer it to my favorite Starbucks so I can get my free coffee. But as you guys can see, there are so many places on here you can transfer your money to. Holidays are coming up and every penny counts. To get started, all you need to do is download the Upside app from either Google Play or the App Store. Use my promo code Christina Randall and you will get $5 or more cash back on your first $10 purchase or more. I mean, there's your coffee right there. Get to earning your cash back today. Thanks again, Upside. So real quick, let me tell you guys what I learned about Moscow, Idaho. This town has less than 26,000 people total, and about 11,500 people are enrolled to go to the University of Idaho. So the way I envision this town is basically half of the town, or almost half of the town, is college students. So that would be a blast for college-aged students, right? You go here, you go to the University of Idaho, and basically everywhere you go in this town, if you go to the grocery store, if you go to the convenience store, if you go to a bar, right? If you go to just about anywhere, almost half of the people in there are going to be your age, doing the things that you're doing and going to school. So it seems like an awesome place for college students. However, that other half, a little bit more than half, is locals, people that live in the town. Now, because this town has such a high percentage of college students, there are a lot of like college housing, people that rent to students. And in this particular house, the one where the 911 call was dispatched to, there were 5 female students that were living in this home. And a lot of the times, one of the female students had her boyfriend that would stay there as well. Now, this home was very much known as a party home. Obviously, I mean, it's college house, nothing abnormal, but this was one that was known where people would come over and hang out, people would walk in and out of. It was nothing for, a few of the roommates to hear loud partying and laughing, late hours of the night, banging noises, the whole college scene when you have a house with 5 females in it that are living that life. However, when the investigators walked into this home after responding to the person being unconscious or passing out, and it has been later said, and so many things keep getting said and retracted and all of this stuff, but it was later said that somebody went to the house and went to go inside, saw a horrific scene, and they passed out, and then somebody called 911 because they saw the person that was unconscious or passed out. But when the investigators walked into the home, they saw a serious crime scene. 4 dead students. I saw where the coroner said that this was the most horrific scene that she had ever seen and that she was still processing what she saw weeks later.
Well, there was a lot of blood. It was a very sad scene for college students.
And that says something, especially when you're a coroner and that's literally what you deal with is deceased bodies. And she was still processing it. So let me tell you about the 4 victims. The first victim's name is 21-year-old Madison, who went by Maddie. Now, Maddie was a senior marketing major at the University of Idaho, and she was on the dean's list every single year that she was at school. She had a lot of fun. She had a lot of friends, but she was really great at what she did. She also worked at a local restaurant there called the Mad Greek, and she was a server there, and she had a bright smile, and she was very good at what she did. And also, since she was studying in marketing, she was then in charge of managing the social media accounts for that restaurant as kind of like, she's already going in business or plans on going into business for marketing, so why not start with the restaurant she was working at? Now, Maddie's best friend, Kaylee, she was a senior in general studies, arts, and social sciences, and she was dedicated, outspoken, motivated, and full of life. She was was known to turn even the most stressful day into a fun time by making others feel comfortable. And Maddie and Kaylee were best friends. They grew up together, they went to school together, high school together, and now we're both seniors in college together, roommating together. They were known by each other's families as actual sisters. I mean, they were very close, and they even went on family vacations together. They were inseparable. The third victim's name was Xana, and she was 20 years old. She was known as the life of the party, and she would fill any room with laughter. She was described by her friends as kind, loving, compassionate, serious about her goals, and focused towards her dreams. Now, Xana's boyfriend's name was Ethan, and he was the fourth victim, and he was also in the house staying with his girlfriend Xana this evening. He was 20 years old and majoring in recreation. He played basketball all through high school, and he was a triplet who considered his siblings his best friends. And as a matter of fact, since all this has happened, I mean, all of the families are obviously devastated and wanting answers like yesterday. But Ethan, being a triplet, his mother has said multiple times that his two siblings, the three of them in the mama's womb together, literally were together all the time, forever, are really having a hard time about this. And I have heard situations like this when you have twins and one of them passes and the other one just, so I'm hoping all the families can heal. Now let's go over some of the details real quick. I'm assuming a lot of you guys know about this case, but for those of y'all that don't know, we're gonna go over it. Now this was a 6-bedroom house where the students were living, and it was just off of the campus in the 1100 block of King Road. It was also about a mile away from the fraternity that Ethan belonged to. The three women, Xana, Maddie, and Kaylee, all lived together at that home with the other two roommates, and Ethan was staying the night that night. Now, the other two roommates, okay, remember we said there's 5 roommates, 3 of them now are in this lump of the deceased, along with Ethan. The other 2 roommates did survive. The victims were found on the 2nd and 3rd floors, 2 on each floor. Investigators wouldn't say which victims were where, but they did say that the 911 call was made from inside the house on one of the surviving roommates' cell phones. The surviving roommates called friends to the house before calling 911 because they believed one of the victims on the 2nd floor had passed out and was not waking up. Multiple people there talked with the 911 dispatcher before the officers arrived. Xana and Ethan had been at a party at the Sigma Chi fraternity house, and they returned home at about 1:45 a.m. on Sunday, and Kaylee and Madison were at the Corner Club bar before stopping at a downtown food truck on the way home. The food truck has video footage of them ordering their food where a man can be seen possibly watching them.
Haley Gonzalez in the white hoodie and her friend Madison Mogan were at a popular food truck near the campus.
I would like the carbonara.
Look, one man appears to be watching them. The time, 1:30 a.m. After ordering, Maddie sees a friend and embraces him. When their food comes, Kaylee takes a short video to post on social media, and they walk off together. Look, the man gestures towards them and then heads in the same direction. It's believed police know who he is.
Now, this man that was seen possibly watching them was a rumor that was going around, and people were like, oh my gosh, it's that guy, it's that guy. Since then, that guy has been cleared. And spoiler alert, I don't think it was that guy either, but you got to stay to the end to know what I think. The 2 girls used a private party to get a ride home from the food truck, and then they arrived at the house at around 1:56 a.m., according to the investigators. The 2 surviving roommates had been out that night, but they were not actually together. The police have said that both of them were home by around 1 o'clock on Sunday, and they would have been in the house at the time of the attack. They were unharmed and didn't wake up until late Sunday morning, and both of their bedrooms were on the 1st floor. So you're following me, right? The 2 girls, the roommates that survived, were on the 1st floor. The attacks for the other 4 were 2 on the 2nd floor and 2 on the 3rd floor. The county coroner has said that the 4 victims were stabbed to death with a large knife that has even been called a hunter's knife. It's been called a Rambo knife, like a big aggressive knife. Autopsies confirmed that all 4 victims died from multiple stab wounds and that they were all likely asleep when the attacks started. Some victims showed defensive wounds. None of the victims showed any signs of SA.
So then they went to high school together. Then they started looking at colleges. They came here together. They eventually get into the same apartment together. And in the end, they died together in the same room, in the same bed. And it's a shame.
Multiple calls were made from Kaylee and Maddie's cell phones between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. to a male who did not answer. A sister of Kaylee said the calls were made to an individual named Jack, who is an ex-boyfriend. She said her sister was known for frequently making late night phone calls, or some of us like to call them drunk calls, drunk texts. You know, when you're in the middle of the night and you just want to talk to your ex-boyfriend so bad, you just blow him up, and then he doesn't answer, and then you tell your friend, oh my gosh, you call him. You see if he answers from your phone. That's what it seems like that situation was. Now, the University of Idaho told people to stay away from the area and shelter in place at 2:07 p.m. that day as the police department investigated a homicide. About 90 minutes later, the university tweeted that the shelter in place was lifted, but called for Moscow residents to remain vigilant. Police have given very little information about the possible motives for the killings, but law enforcement have repeatedly said that they believe it to be a targeted attack. Now, they've declined to give any further information, and a lot of people are upset, even the 4 students' family members. Now, something strange about this, it seems like there's a lot of rumors that the investigators have messed this case up or did the wrong thing, that this small little town, the investigators were not equipped to handle this type of thing, and they were stomping all over evidence, and people were going in and out of the house, and then they allowed everybody in the town basically to clear out for Thanksgiving week, and it was just a mess. I don't know. I think that they have somebody or somebody's in mind. And the Idaho investigative team just released that they are seeking any information about a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra that was in the area of the crime scene during the early morning hours of November 13th. Stock images of the vehicle have been put out there for the public, and they are now trying to figure out who was driving this car, because after it seems like they were looking at surveillance footage or photos, that is the only car that is not accounted for. And I know that a lot of you guys want to know what I think about the case. Kaylee allegedly had told somebody 2 months prior to this that she had a stalker. And I believe it. I do believe it. These were, pretty girls that posted themselves all over TikTok and social media. And it's a small town. And this is what's so scary about social media, y'all. And I know that a lot of us are protective of our smaller children, but the teenagers, the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, y'all got to be, pay attention to this too. It just sucks that it has to be this way. But if you looked at the girls, Maddie and Kaylee's TikToks, it showed them dancing, doing things that they should be able to do at their age. It showed them in their house. It showed plenty of videos of them, in their home. And they also worked in the town. And Kaylee worked at a local restaurant. I believe, especially with that being such a large number of college students, and, almost 50-50, more like 60-40% locals, and then that large percentage of college students. I believe that it's possible that Kaylee or maybe even Maddie had a stalker. I mean, it is a very small town. It's very easy to sneak around probably and find out where these people and girls live, especially when you see where all the fraternity houses are. I do not believe it was somebody just traveling through the town and did a random attack. I mean, I definitely believe it was random in a way, but I also believe it was somebody that is in the town and is still in that town. And that is so scary and creepy. I mean, you guys, if you don't remember the Golden State Killer, and you can go back and watch the video that I did on that if you don't remember. But this was a man that committed different crimes, and he was a serial killer over decades. He was actually an investigator that would work on the crimes afterwards, like a real live horror movie. So you just never know. But I definitely think it was somebody that is in that town, and they are still there watching all of this. And I think they came in that sliding glass door. A lot of people said that they probably kept their doors locked, or they did, or they didn't. I just don't think they did. I think they all came in late from drinking. I think that they probably went into their rooms, and I think this guy figured that this was his time. And I do believe it was a guy, and I believe it was one guy. I believe he came into that sliding glass door, probably didn't know which way to go to the room, may have accidentally went into the room where Xana and Ethan was, and maybe they woke up, maybe one of them was still awake, and he had to attack, or felt like he had to, and he killed them, and then he went upstairs looking for the girls, or one of the girls. And I saw an investigator talk about the crime of incel, and man, it made so much sense to me.
I'm not ruling out the incel factor, that is involuntary celibacy, and that is kind of a subculture within our country of mostly younger men who feel they're not dating the kind of women they would like to date. And while most of them, the vast majority, are not violent, some do have violent ideation, and they do want to carry out threats and actually take actions against people. Is it possible they saw the young women here as Stacy's, that's the nickname for attractive women, or the young man Ethan as a Chad? That's something that I know the profilers and behavioralists are looking into, all the online footprints of those type people. Or could it be a sexual sadist?
It's the first time that I started looking at this case. I just had this gut feeling that it was one person, like an awkward, person that probably had a crush on one of the girls. This was before I knew about the stalker situation with Kaylee. Probably had a crush on one of them, went into the house and was looking for her, and ended up taking out other people on the way. It was just too brutal. And I think that the person may have had intentions, even though there was no essay. I think maybe they had intentions to do essay. This is, you guys, I have no proof for any of this. This is just my theory as of now, because I know a lot of you guys keep asking me, what do I think? Right now, this is what I think. It could change if new information comes out. And I can just envision this man in this situation. It could be a woman, it could be, but this is my opinion. Looking at the young girls, finding out maybe one of their names, but if it's Kaylee, because she works at this restaurant, it's a small town, looking her up on social media and being turned down for whatever reason, and going in that house that probably, with everybody out drinking, it was probably unlocked, and killing 4 people. Now, when you see these photos, and I know a lot of you guys have seen them, you guys have been emailing them to me, there is one picture of the house, you guys. This is your trigger warning for blood. If you don't want to see blood or something that looks like blood, that's red and liquidy, skip to this minute right here. But there's a photo of the house, and this is right where Ethan and Xana the bedroom was. And it's like blood is dripping from the inside of the house down the wall. The cops have not said that this is blood yet, because they're still doing their testing and their DNA, which seems like it's taking a really long time. And maybe they're just keeping it all on hush because they have a suspect, even though they're saying that they don't. I mean, they are not bound to come out to the media and tell us when they have a suspect. Even if they say they don't, they could be saying that because they do. You know what I mean? So we don't know. And I got a feeling that they do, somebody. But you think about how much blood had to be in that room for it to seep through the floor, through the walling, and drip down the outside. That brings me back to what the coroner said about how they're still trying to process it. Whoever did this, whoa. Now, there has been a lot of chatter about the 2 roommates that survived the attack, and they were on that first level, or the bottom level, or the first floor. To me, it doesn't seem like a 3-story house. It seems like a 3-level house. But anyways, a lot of people feel like there's no way they couldn't have heard anything, but to me, it makes sense. I mean, it's 3 levels. There might have been TVs playing that's muffling the noise, white noise machines, alcohol involved. People are sleeping harder. They allegedly said that they went in and locked their door. Maybe the person did come down to that level and they put their hand on the doorknob and they saw that it was locked and they just kept going. When you're living in a house too, a college house where people are yelling, hooping, hollering, and laughing all the time, even if you hear a scream in your sleep, that people may not get, woken up by it. I know when we had our oldest son at home, that kid or young man could sleep through anything. Me, on the other hand, I mean, literally, if a pin drops, I'm wide awake. I mean, if the cat meows, I'm like sitting up in bed, like wide awake. But like kids that age, they can sleep through anything. And the other craziest thing about this is the people that live in that community know that there is still a killer loose in their community. It could be the person delivering their mail. It could be their preacher. It could be their school teacher. It could be the guy bagging the groceries at their grocery store. They have no idea who it is. That's creepy. It's even said that a lot of students have left the school. They're not finishing out like the year or their semester or anything there. And I don't blame them. If my kid went there, I'd definitely be like, come on home, baby. Especially with a town that small. You're not talking about like an Atlanta, Georgia, or a Miami where people are traveling in and out. This is a small, tight-knit community. There were a lot of rumors that went around about one of the neighbors that was doing like all of these interviews. And this neighbor has since come out and been like, I'll give a lie detector or a blood test or, whatever. And I hope that this person does. I hope that anybody does that needs to, or feels like they should prove that they didn't have anything to do with this. But this is crazy. Absolutely terrifying. These kids were young adults, were just in their home sleeping. And they just recently started releasing the personal belongings in the house for the students. And me and one of my best friends was talking about how devastating that is. I mean, you think about as a parent, you move your child into college, you're all excited, you're getting their room together, you're happy for them, they finally made it, they're getting ready to have fun. This is the time of their lives. And you never expect that you're going to be picking up their things without them. Like, it's absolutely heartbreaking. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to leave the phone number in the description box. So if you guys know any real information that could be helpful for this case, please call. And other than that, I love you guys and I will see y'all in the next video. Thank y'all for being here. Love you guys. Bye.